exactly you want to do this.
Do you want to sit or you want to stand?
I guess I could sit.
Sit right there. Who are you?
Oni Duval, more commonly known as Oni, the base god, the space demon, whichever handle, you know what I'm saying?
And how would you define your mental health?
I was told I had clinical depression during all my therapy sessions back when I was about 25 years old. So I guess you could call it clinical depression.
What made you go to a therapist?
After so much had happened in my life, when I got to be about 25 years old, I made the decision that shit wasn't going to get better for me. Essentially, things weren't going to get better. So I tried to hang myself, and I almost succeeded. But I guess the universe saw fit for me to still be here because the noose that I tied up snapped. I tied a noose around the pull-up bar that I had in my room. I used to try to pull something else up, but.
I was your branch as you wrapped your cocoon. What made you choose that method?
I don't know. At the time, I don't know exactly what I was thinking. I wanted it to be somewhat, I guess, painless. I wanted it to be clean. I didn't want to make a mess. I didn't want to make anybody's job in terms of taking care of what was left of me any more difficult.
Why do you feel like why do you feel like it was a difficulty?
I mean, I had already gone through a lot of my life feeling like a burden to everybody, like my very presence, my very opinion, my very anything was troublesome. It made things around me more difficult. So I didn't want to make, my dying any more difficult. At the time, that was just how I thought. Like I don't want to make my parents having to clean me up any more difficult when I've given them all this other difficulty, when I've made them feel, all sorts of types of way about me.
In that moment, do you feel like there were any emotions in you in the moment, or do you feel like all emotions were gone?
It was actually a really complicated combination for me. There were a lot of emotions going through my brain that made me feel bad about what would happen, how my girlfriend would feel, how my family would feel, now that I was gone, that goes through your head, but at the same time, you're just like so finished with life. You're like so finished dealing with, all the awful things going on in the world, all the awful people, all the oppression, all of the, modern day slavery, and it makes you feel some type of way about like, why am I here? The world's a terrible place. Why am I here?
I held you tight as you glistened in the moon. Then the sunlight as you crystallize. I held you tight. What do you feel like the stigma is when it comes to men and mental health?
Well, men the way men are raised up, even still, you know, to a degree, our fathers want to train us to be hunters. They want to train us to be warriors. They want to train us to be protectors. And to them, those kinds of things mean you're not allowed to feel any pain. You're not allowed to, you know, feel justified in crying or feel justified in, you know, letting your emotions out or expressing yourself, because you don't want people to think that you're not a hunter, you're not a gatherer, you're not a protector, you're not, you're not all of that stuff. And that kind of thing is very poisonous, it's very toxic, and that's the reason why a lot of men are like, they like lash out at the world. They blame everybody else for their problems because nobody ever teaches them to look inward the way that they should, you know? And I think the mental health stigma with men is it's just that, you know? Most people want black men to be protectors, to be workers, to be, you know, really stern, strong fathers, but we can be that while still taking care of ourselves and looking inward at ourselves. It might actually make us better parents, you know, it might make us better fathers, better husbands, definitely, you know, because you don't want your woman sitting there being like, you know, why won't you talk to me? Why won't you be open with me? Why won't you do any of these things for me? You don't want a relationship like that. So it's like, you know, nah, do better, guys. Like,
it was time. It was time.
I think the stigma just comes from the fact that the way that we were brought in here and the way that we had to, the way that African Americans were brought into this country, you know, we don't know how to love each other the same way that we may have used to, you know, pre-colonialism, before all the slavery and all the garbage started happening. And now, you know, we're starting to figure out, oh my goodness, black people do have really, you know, complex working brains. We're not just monolithic, you know, numbers, statistics, you know, we're actual people. We have a lot going on in our minds. We have a lot going on that is it's brought on by traumas around us, things going on around us, you know, relationships, the way our parents talk to us, the way that society talks to us, you know, those kinds of things all factor into the kind of person that you will be when you grow up. And if you don't have somebody there to nurture an environment for you to heal when you figure out that something's going on up here, in the same way that, you know, you would go to the doctor if you were cut, or you would go to the doctor if you were like hacking up blood or some shit, you know, like, you have to know what you would do when something's going on up here too. And I feel like that's what the conversation is now among black people, among anybody.
So fly, butterfly. So fly, butterfly.
What's going on, guys? Name's Oni Duval, more commonly known as Oni. I am an artist, and I am a mental health advocate, and I am a suicide survivor. And it's okay. It's okay, y'all. It's okay.